Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. This is KTN News Desk. My name is Akisa Wandera. Our sign language interpreter is Meresha Owiti. Let's recap our top story of the hour. The search for the anti-graft boss has started in earnest today, with candidates appearing before the selection team. For this top challenging job was a former permanent secretary, Philemon Mwaisaka. 6 candidates were shortlisted for this position. And of course, we'll definitely be giving you details later on, as the team is expected to give a press briefing later on in the day. But moving on, 70% of Kenyans feel that the KDF should be withdrawn from Somalia and deployed at the Kenyan borders. This is according to a report released by Twaweza East Africa on radicalization and citizens' views on causes and solutions to insecurity in the country. The report also highlights that 87% of Kenyans believe that Al-Shabaab remains a threat to the country. Let's now link up with our reporter, Caroline B., who covered that particular conference. She's joining us from Westlands here in Nairobi. Good afternoon, Caroline. These numbers and these sentiments are not a first. What reasons did Kenyans give this time round?
Well, good afternoon to you, Akisa. Yes, I'm here at the Twaweza East Africa offices, where they just released a report on citizens' perspective and views over some of the causes of insecurity, as well as the solutions for that. But now I'm actually joined by Victor Ateng, the Senior Programs Manager over Twaweza East Africa, just to give us a highlight of this report. Well, thank you very much, Victor, for finding time to speak to us. Maybe you can start by just highlighting the very important views that you thought Kenyans give concerning insecurity.
Oh, thank you so much, Caroline, and thanks to KTN. So we released this report today that talks about issues to do with radicalism and terrorism in Kenya, basically capturing citizens' views with regard to the same. Now, our survey findings today had 7 facts, and just to highlight that, we did this between 15th of August and 6th of September, reaching about 1,801 respondents. We have a panel of respondents in the 47 counties across the country that we call every month on various issues of interest to citizens. Now, with regard to today's findings, what we hear from citizens is that 9 out of 10 believe that Al-Shabaab remains a threat a security threat to the country. So the second thing is that focusing on what they think is the main driver of radicalization or radicalism appealing to the Kenyan youth. Now, citizens believe that unemployment and poor governance are the main factors that contribute to are the main drivers to citizens or the Kenyan youth feeling attracted to radicalization. Now, this may be contrary to what most people have thought, that actually it's extremist religious views, but they think otherwise, which means probably that extremist religious views is cannibalizing on the unemployed youth population. Now, the third thing has to do with the closure of Dadaab refugee camp. Now, 64% of citizens are actually aware of this, and when we ask the 64% what they think about this closure, nearly 80% of those aware approve of this proposed closure or the ongoing closure that is actually initiated by the government. Now, the fourth thing had to do with confidence in KDF. Now, 6 in 10 Kenyans express confidence in KDF, but even as they express that confidence, 70% of the general population feels that KDF should actually be withdrawn from Somalia. Yes, so those are some of the findings that we released today. And I think it is important that from what you saw here, we had high-level security officials attending this brief, and we believe that they are taking these issues seriously.
Yeah. I could cut you short. Well, Kenyans have actually given a lot of their views, but do they also know of, or did you seek to ask some of the solutions towards these insecurities? Are they aware of solutions provided by government? Now that you said that we had some of the visitors from the government side, are they aware of some of the solutions provided by government?
Well, citizens may be aware because Nyumba Kumi is one of those things that has been talked largely about. But in this particular survey, we did not ask citizens if they know about Nyumba Kumi. We had a report we released 3 weeks ago about what citizens think about local security issues and reporting of crime to the police. And from that report, what we saw is that confidence in the police is very low when it comes to reporting local crime and attacks. And they gave several reasons which have to do with the structure of the police and how the police would normally respond, including demanding of bribes by the police and other things. But today's focus was largely on issues to do with terrorism and radicalization of the Kenyan youth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, another issue that when we find out, when we look at some of the reports that are actually released by majority of the firms that release reports, we find that, places such as Mandera, places such as Wajir, the rural coastal parts, which are often face attacks most of the time, are always left out in these reports. Did you reach out to citizens from those parts to also get their views?
Yes, so our survey focuses on the entire Kenyan population. So we have panelists across the 47 counties. We did a baseline in November, December last year, and when we were doing the baseline, the main reason for that was to establish a panel. So we have presence in all the 47 counties. In some areas, of course, we had network and security issues, but we had replacement of enumeration areas within those localities that represented or remained or still give us the representation that qualify this survey as being national. So we have respondents in all those counties that would otherwise be left out by other surveys. Yeah.
And my final question, from your report, you indicated that at some point when you interviewed the people, they actually said that, some of them know some of the people who've been recruited into some of these radical groups, or they have heard of someone. Is this information, could you share information, with Kenyans or the intelligence about that? Because, that is quite, I could say, very serious when it comes to intelligence in the country.
Yeah, that's good information. So we asked our panelists or our respondents to tell us if they know or if they have heard of somebody or if they know somebody who has been recruited or attempted to be recruited to join a radical or extremist group. And our survey shows that 7% of the general population is actually aware of somebody who has either been recruited or attempted to be recruited. Now, 7% of the general population, looking at it from the adult population, when you extrapolate that translates to about 1.3 million Kenyans, telling us that they know somebody who has either been recruited or attempted to be recruited. Now, so based on that information, it's for the intelligence, because they know where this is happening in most cases. They know where the officials who are here told us they know where this is happening, although they would have wanted us to share more information, which we may not have because our work ends with perception survey. We don't go into the intelligence. We don't have the all the required equipment to crack down on such, to get more information as far as that is concerned. But the fact that citizens are saying there is that it's happening, they know about it, they have information, tells us that something is happening in our country that needs to be followed up on a serious note. Yeah. Because 1.3 million Kenyans, that's a huge number if you think about it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Victor Ateng, the Senior Programs Manager of Toweza East Africa, giving us a brief of the report that has just been released on citizens' views on and also solutions on how we can be able to tackle insecurity. You can also, when we think about insecurity, it's a major threat to the country. Akisa, back to you.
Thank you very much for that. That is our reporter Caroline B. joining us from Westlands at the Toweza East Africa offices. They've just released a report on some of the Kenyans' views about the troops we keep sending outside and matters insecurity and radicalization. And when we're still talking about troops, their training prepares them for war and defense. Military officers are in most cases associated with strict discipline and brute force. Residents of Kwale have come to meet a different face of the military under the banner Ushirikiano Imara program. And as KTN News, Francis Ontomwa reports from the Kenyan coast, soldiers from the entire East Africa region have landed in truckloads in Kwale County, and this time they're gunning for the hearts and minds of the Kwale residents. Take a look.
When you think of a military officer, most likely images that will sneak through your mind will be those of ruthless, no-nonsense male figures ready for war. But here in Kwale, that perception vanishes almost immediately. The Ushirikiano Imara is a joint regional military exercise that has Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Burundi and Uganda. They have set base in Kwale to conduct humanitarian activities. These officers are building schools, making roads, and even digging boreholes.
We are undertaking a civic activity here in full, that is civic military activities, which is cooperation between the military and the civilians, so that we can do some of the projects that will actually assist the community.
The kind gesture through the Kenya military engineers has seen the grading of several roads within Matuga and the drilling of a borehole at Kwale Girls High School, and the officers are promising to do even much more.
There are no doors. We are redoing the ceiling, which was not there, and even the floor, which was in a pathetic state, and even the paintworks. All that we've been undertaking that while you are here.
Schools that have benefited from the rare magnanimity have kind words for the soldiers.
Niko na raha sana, sijui nikwambie niko na raha kiasi gani. Kabisa haielezeki.
At the Kwale School of Cerebral Palsy and Autism, the military engineers are constructing a chain link fence around the institution. Once completed, the fence will help improve security to the school that has 135 students enrolled.
The project aims to bolster the MEMA mission in the relationship with the local community, and the intention is to better the lives of the people after the completion of this exercise.
Ushirikiano Imara exercise began last Friday and will be officially called off on Friday by the Kenyan head of state Uhuru Kenyatta. These officers want everyone to appreciate that they too are human and consider togetherness as a fundamental principle of life. Francis Ontomoa, KTN News, Kwale.
Well, quite a course that one. From Kwale, let's cross straight to Kisumu County, where Kisumu's newest millionaire, Joseph Onywera, gave locals a rare treat when he unveiled his new wife at a 200,000 shillings party that he held in her honor. Onywera hit the jackpot in June this year after correctly predicting 13 matches in the Betway jackpot draw. The 63-year-old had earlier separated from his wife, who he says left when he had nothing and would rather start life with this new. Phoebe Otieno, Mashrima Kapombe reports.
An opportunity to shake Joseph Onywera's hand was something villagers would not let pass. After all, it is the lucky hand that has now made him a millionaire. The merrymaking in this party was more so for Onywera to introduce his new wife, Phoebe Otieno.
Tuliongea naye zamani, akapotea kidogo, akaenda Uganda huko. Sasa wakati niliona nilipata pesa, kuna jamaa akaniambia bado yuko nyumbani. Nikampigia simu, nikamwambia kama vile tuliongea, kama inawezekana wewe njoo tukae.
Ini sara ya 20 million.
Onywera shared this moment with fellow villagers, but his ex-wife, whom he says left him when he was a pauper, was not welcome to his home.
Yule alikuwa mgoni, sikuruhusia yeye aje. Kwa sababu miaka 15 bibi amekaa nje, sasa sikubali. Alikuja, nikamwambia wewe rudi tu, ngoje mpaka mimi nikufe ndio rudi.
Joseph Onywera hit the jackpot in June this year after correctly predicting 13 matches on the Betway betting platform. He has since bought plots, built a house and bought this matatu that will provide a regular income. This march has, however, set him back 200,000 shillings. Mashirima Kapombe, KTN News.
Now, cattle rustlers along Kisumu-Kericho border have been warned that they will face robbery with violence as opposed to stock theft. Two county commissioners from the two counties have resolved that victims of the trade would be made witnesses in a bid to present a tight case. They also tasked chiefs and their assistants to profile suspected cattle rustlers to deter the vice. They were speaking during a joint security meeting at the border of Kisumu and Kericho counties.
People have been taken to court. Accusation has been stock theft. But we want to now change our tact And in the prosecution, make it very clear. We will now treat you as having committed robbery with violence. Because when they go to steal, they are armed with crude weapons. Their intention is to kill and forcibly take away animals. So they will now be dealt with that particular offense as robbery with violence.
And I can assure you there is no political element in this matter. It is purely issue of criminal activity. And all of us are putting our heads together. The National Police Service led by the commanders here. We have the County Police Commander from Kisumu. We have the County Police Commander from Kericho. We have the County CIDs and County Intelligence and County ABs from both sides. And all of us are now prepared to put our efforts together so that we move to control these menaces which have been existing.
Coordinators from integrated internally displaced persons from all the 42 counties countrywide met in Nakuru in a forum to push the government to settle their long-awaited compensation promised to them by the national government several years ago following the 2007-2008 post-election violence. The Kenyan government allocated around 6 billion shillings for the integrated IDPs, and so far they claim they have not received anything. They are demanding to be treated the same way IDPs who lived in camps were treated, and they gave the government a 14-day ultimatum to meet their expectations or else they take legal action.
Tunataka kuomba serikali na tunaomba NCC wajaribu kuharakisha vile walifanya kazi ya camps wafanyie integrated. Wajaribu kuharakisha kwa sababu hii mambo ya IDPs integrated hata politicians wameanza kuingilia.
Serikali ya Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta na Bwana Ruto waweze kufanya haraka sana watulipe pesa. Hatutaki mambo ya changing of posts, changing of goal posts. Leo ni hivi, kesho ni vile, kesho kutwa ni vile. Tumechoka. Watu wetu wamekufa wengi mno. Kwa hivyo tunasema ya kwamba serikali ni lazima watoke nje, watuambie kama hii pesa iko ama kuna.
Malipo ya watu ya hema ilikwisha na integrated tunaona huu mradi umejifuta sana. Na ndio hii leo tumetoa kauli jinsi ambavyo tumepeleka barua kwa ministry ama kwa CS kwamba tumeipa siku 14 leo kuanzia dakika hii. Kama pesa watu wetu hawapati, the integrated, hawa watu watatoka moja kwa moja na wataenda kuchukua pesa zao penye ziko.